What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's training talk video, and today's training talk video is actually inspired by a comment I got in a video not so long ago, and what this person asked was what is the best way to gain as much weight as possible? So how do you gain as much weight as you possibly can? And I found this quite an interesting concept, and the short answer is the way to gain the most weight possible is to simply eat as much food as you possibly can. But ultimately, I don't really tend to think that that's a very smart thing to do. I don't really think that as a very intelligent thing to do, to just try and gain as much weight as possible, because ultimately, I'm assuming that you're drug free. And I'm assuming that most of the people that watch this are drug free. If you're not, it's not an issue. I just assume that you are. So especially if you are drug free and aren't taking any drugs, or performance enhancing drugs for that matter, then trying to just gain as much weight as possible isn't necessarily a very good tool to use, because ultimately if you're just trying to get as much weight as possible, the majority of that is going to be fat, because ultimately if you're out with the first year of training, how much muscle can you actually gain per month? And yes, whenever you're trying to gain muscle, you're going to have to be in a slight surplus. So whenever you're in a slight surplus, you're obviously going to have to, there's going to be some form of fat gain. There just is, there's going to be some form of fat gain. But ultimately, you want to kind of inhibit that fat gain as much as possible, because if you don't, and you just try and gain as much weight as possible, and you try and gain so much weight to the point where you're putting on so much fat, eventually you're going to become so fat you're probably going to have to diet, because you're going to be giving yourself massive health risks. And ultimately, I don't really feel past a certain threshold much fat tends to give you much of a benefit. I think personally, past roughly the 18% body fat mark, maybe 20%, but probably the 18% body fat mark, isn't going to really benefit you that much, and if anything is only going to detract, because ultimately once you start going past that 18% body fat kind of threshold, what tends to happen is that you start to negatively impact your hormones, and your estrogen tends to be a little bit higher than you, as a byproduct, and as a byproduct your testosterone has to be a little bit lower. So that's going to kind of almost kind of detract from your gain. So what I would recommend is finding a set of calories. Now you could just track calories as a whole, or you could track your macronutrients. So yes, tracking macros is tracking calories, but what I mean by that is when you track macros, you also track the 3 individual macronutrients, which all make up your calorie markers. Or you could just track your calorie markers and not actually worry about hitting a specific amount of protein, fats and carbs, and just find whatever, and just be maybe a 250 calorie surplus. And by being a 250 calorie surplus, just allow your body to kind of naturally gain a little bit of weight, and when you start to plateau and not gain much weight, increase the calorie marker. So increase it by maybe 15 grams of carbs, and then see where the scale goes. And the scale starts going back up, then wait till it plateaus again, and then increase again, and keep doing that. And over a space of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you will have gained a huge amount of weight, but hopefully not gained you will have gained some body fat, but hopefully not you gained a huge amount of body fat, because ultimately just trying to gain as much weight as possible isn't necessarily a smart thing to do, because ultimately the majority of it is going to be fat. You're not going to feel very great, you're not going to feel very healthy, you can negatively impact your hormones, and on top of that you could also start to really negatively impact your health. And it's just not a very good thing to do, and I don't really see much logic or any point in just trying to gain as much weight as possible. But I mean, if you just wanted to gain as much weight as possible for whatever reason, just drink lots of chocolate milk, eat lots of pizza, and drink lots of energy drinks that are full of sugar, and just be way above your calorie threshold, and you will gain as much weight as possible. Ultimately, it's not a very intelligent or smart thing to do, and it's not going to see you through your fitness journey very well, and ultimately it may lead to, in two years time, we're going to need to go on a massive cut, and a very prolonged cut, and a very prolonged calorie deficit, which is only going to negatively impact your performance, which will set you back. So instead of ever having to set yourself back, so it's almost without ever having to take 2 steps forwards and then 2 steps backwards, just constantly keep taking 1 step forwards, 1 step forwards, 1 step forwards. Will the weight gain be a little bit slower? Yeah. Will the muscle gain be a little bit slower? Maybe. I mean, there's not much data to show that, but I mean, maybe. It might not be just as fast, but I think it probably will be pretty close. And you're never going to have to go on a massive prolonged calorie deficit and set yourself back lots and lots of times. So I mean, I think that your logic I think you have the right mindset. You want to gain weight because you know obviously to maximise your strength potential, you need to maximise your muscular potential. You need to gain as much muscle as you possibly can. That's also going to obviously maximise your leverages and give you the most potential to be as strong as you possibly can, which is great. To do so, you need to be in prolonged calorie surplus, you need to gain weight. So you've got a great thinking and great idea, but you're going around it the wrong way and you've got flawed logic because you don't want to just gain weight for the sake of gaining weight. That is the wrong thing to do. You want to gain weight appropriately over an appropriate time scale and do it properly and efficiently, and that's the best way to go about it. So I hope you enjoyed today's training talk. That's my kind of view on it. Let me know what your views are on it below. Do you think... yeah, just let me know what your views are below. So thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I hopefully will speak to all of you guys next time.